You like the intro music? Yeah. Lady North is back here dancing too. She knows what's up. All right, let's give it a minute for everyone to get in here. Get in here from the Discord. All right. Pinto, you want to come and dance? No dancing. Okay. All right. All right, perfect. It looks like we've got some people getting in here. Good. Oh, Sosa. Yeah, you know what's up, buddy. Sosa knows what it's all about, and it, in fact, is not the hokey pokey. So, with that said, I would like to welcome you personally. Welcome each and every one of you lovely chaps to Live with Jack number 66. Hi, I'm Jack, and it is the best part of your day, your week, your month, your year, in fact, even possibly your life. But if you'd really like to experience the maximum potential of this, if you'd really like to feel the magic deep inside your bones, reach that height of humanity, the culmination of all of civilization, all you need to do is find yourself something to drink. I have a beer, and you're going to join me now as we lift our glasses in a worldwide Cheers with Chaps with a special guest star today. So, boys, lift them up and join me now for the Cheers with Chaps. Go. Are you going to come and cheers? I'll get the beer into the camera. There we go. Lady North just cracked one too. She joined us. She was our special guest star today for the Cheers with Chaps. Now, if you're one of those weirdos out there who's thinking to yourself, why do you do this, Jack? Who wants to cheers with you? Well, you know what? You're missing out, and you need to nut up, because if even Lady North can make it for the Cheers with Chaps, you can too. And I just realized something horrible. I got so distracted, I forgot to take my own drink. Delicious. Oh, Sosa having some honey whiskey, and Coot drinking that water, whatever that might be. Nobody knows. Fine then, keep your secrets, Coot. All right, guys, today is going to be a fun lesson, because this is a direct result of a question I received from one of the members of the community. And our good friend and fellow YouTuber over at The Gaming Shelf, who I assume is in here with us right now. Actually, I'm going to make sure he's in here. I'm answering your question live right now. Join in fast. So, he sent me a question, and I thought it was actually a really good topic, because it's something that a lot of guys worry about. It's a lot of guys are concerned about this. And he said, as I'm getting older, I feel like I'm afraid that I might have to lower my standards to meet a good girl, to have a good relationship with someone, to really find that connection. Do I need to lower my standards to meet the right kind of girl? And I thought to myself, dang, that's a good one. That's a good one, because this is a worry that a lot of guys have, especially as you start getting older. You push into your 30s, and me, I'm almost 40 at this point. And so I can understand that feeling, that fear. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to answer that one as an entire stream topic. That's not even for the Q&A. That's a big boy topic right there. So today I'm going to take a look with you at whether or not you should lower your standards. Now, this one is going to be a bit different from most of my lessons, because this is going to be less of a of a listicle kind of lesson that gives you like, follow these steps, do these tips, you will get this result. It's less of that. This is more of a guided exercise for you to work through. Now, if you've ever wondered to yourself, what is actual coaching with you like, Papa Jack? Well, you're going to get a sample of it today, because this is basically what my actual coaching is like. Is I will ask you questions and you will need to answer them for yourself to figure out where you land and what you want to do about it. However, before we get into the serious stuff and the nitty gritty, I did promise you guys in the Discord community, and by the way, if you're here and you are not yet a member of the community, there's a link in the description below. You can click that, join the Discord. And I did promise you guys a bit of a teaser. I told you I was going to reveal 3 very important numbers today. And I was using these resources that we put into the Discord called I Got Standards Bro and Female Delusion and something like that, where essentially you put in the metrics of the type of girl that you're looking for, or from a girl's point of view, right? You put in your own metrics and then see what percentage of the population you land in. See how desirable you are. Now, I'll go into that thing in a little bit, and we'll talk about why that's important and why maybe it's less important than it seems. But before we get into that, just know that that's coming a little bit later. So let's start talking about... I hate this camera and this lighting. I really need to do something with this. But let's start talking about what kinds of questions you need to ask yourself. So, should you settle for less? The first question you need to ask yourself, this is the most important one to begin with. You need to ask yourself, truly, what do you bring to the table? And if you can't articulate exactly what it is that you bring to the table, then I think you know what that means. That means that you need to do more. You need to be bringing more. If your answers are, I'm a nice guy, I'm loyal, I'm like, my friends think I'm funny, my mom says I'm handsome. Okay, cool. So you don't bring anything to the table, because as a man, what you bring to the table is basically, what can you do for me? Not me, but what can you do for somebody who you're dating? What do you bring to the table? Now, a lot of people would look at that and say, Jack, I knew it. It's all about money, isn't it? It's all about money. It's definitely not all about money, but that is a part of it. And if you ignore that, you do so at your own peril. Do not do that. Don't ignore the money part, but that's not the only part of this. You can bring a lot of things to the table. I bring entertainment, fun, an exciting personality, the fact that you'll never be bored around me. I bring a seemingly endless cadre of friends and fun times with people all over the place. In fact, all over the world. That is not nothing. So, can personality count? Absolutely, personality can count. Can race count? Absolutely. If you're targeting the right girls, which we'll get to that bit in a minute. Does height matter? Yes, height matters. It does. It's not the only thing. Just like with the money, height matters, looks matter, weight matters, all of this stuff. But you can also make up for these things in other categories. So if you're lacking in one, does hair matter? Hair matters. Hair matters. Doesn't matter as much as you would think, but it matters. So you need to think about what you bring to the table and come up with an actual objective assessment of yourself. You're not trying to be too generous. You're not trying to be too hard on yourself. You're trying to actually be objective. And if you're not sure how to measure some of these things, then ask a trusted close friend who's actually good with women, or even better, if you have a female friend who you actually can trust to be honest with you, or like a coworker who you're close with or something like that, you can ask them for an honest, objective assessment, and you have to accept whatever they say. Don't try to push back, and don't say like, oh, am I really that? Like, no, you need to take objective advice from them, because this is the way that you come up with a clear picture of what it is that you have going for you and what you bring to the table. This is an important part of the equation, because if you don't know what you bring, then how do you know whether you should raise or lower your standards? That is a critical part. Now, you can use a tool like the one we put into the Discord to see where you land on the female delusionometer, right? And this is kind of fun, because if it only calculates a few things. It calculates age, height, weight, I guess marital status as well, but and your income level, and that's it. That's the only things that it calculates. So with those things factored in, how realistic is it for a girl to find someone like you? This is fun, and it's good for the ego if you're doing it in a way to be good for the ego. Now, let me tell you where I clocked in on that, because I did tell you, I promised that I was going to reveal my number. And my number is horrible. My number is so bad because I'm old, I'm fat, I'm married, and my income is not extraordinarily high. I'm not that tall. I'm under 6 feet. So in all of the categories that it measures, I am average to below average. Uh-oh. So where does Papa Jack clock in? Papa Jack clocks in at a clear 6.7%. Woo. So basically, I'm all over the place, right? I'm totally common. I'm a basic bitch. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you measure just those things. Now, remember what I was saying earlier about a lot of these things aren't equally weighted in the real world. Can you make up for those in other ways? Yes. So you may be saying to yourself, well, Papa Jack, if your delusion score clocked in at 6.7, then how have you been so successful with women? Great question, my friend. It's because you bring, or rather I bring, a lot more to the table than my height, than my income, than my weight. Although at the time the marital status was different, so was the age. But neither here nor there. Those wouldn't have made such a big difference. Fact is, yeah, on paper, I'm a basic bitch. On paper, I guarantee that every single one of you guys out there is going to clock in way better than me. Look at you, Coot. Lucky number 7. Hey, what's up, Chingu? You're basically there with me. All right. So if you guys are clocking in better than me, then why aren't you doing better with women? Because you're not bringing the other things. This is why I was saying that this tool is kind of fun to play with, but it doesn't tell the whole picture, not even close. However, this brings us to our next point, our next question that you're going to have to answer for yourself, which is, what are your current standards? Your current standards. What are you looking for now? Okay. Here's where it gets fun, because most guys, most men don't have any standards, at least none that they can verbalize. Most men don't know what they're looking for. I was coaching a guy the other day, and I was talking about this, and I was talking about, what types of girls are you interested in? What kind of girls do you want to meet? Do you want to date? And he said, well, I don't really know how to put it into words. I don't know how to explain it. Just like, I get like a spidey sense whenever I see the ones that I'm attracted to. I'm like, okay, that's great. That is not a standard. That's nothing you can build to. That's nothing you can direct yourself toward. So you need to figure out, what are your standards? Who are you looking for? If you're not sure what the different types of women are, I highly recommend you go over to the blog at thesoulplayer.com. There's a button right at the top that says the types of women, or the types of Korean girls, I think it is, because it's, targeted at a Korean market. But still, these same types apply across the world. I don't care where you are. I don't care what your situation is. Don't give me some, oh, but Jack, oh, but Jack, oh, but what if, but what if, but what if kind of excuses. These are the same women all over the world. Okay. So go over there, read about the different types. If you'd rather have that in video format, you can go over to realjacknorth.com right now. You can sign up for the Girlfriend Accelerator course, where you'll get access to the videos where I explain in great detail all 13 different types of women, and I help you understand the pros and cons of dating each one. You need to figure out who it is you want to date so that you know what your current standards are. Now, that's regarding type. Regarding other things, what are your standards? What height are you looking for? Does height matter? Do you want a girl who's taller than you? Maybe not. Maybe you need to lower the height meter. I know I did whenever I put this in earlier. But you need to figure out, does her income matter to you at all? For most men, it probably actually won't. But who knows? Maybe it does. But her age absolutely matters. Cool. Plug that in as well. What about her looks? How pretty does she have to be if she matches all the other qualifications? And I know what you're thinking to yourself. You're probably thinking, oh, well, Papa Jack, I don't really mind, maybe like a 6 or a 7 would be great. Awesome. Cool. Are you a 6 or a 7? Remember, we asked that question first. You need to have an objective answer to that, because if you yourself are clocking in at a 3, 4, you're going to have a hard time getting those 7s. So figure out what you bring to the table. Then, instead of saying a 6 or a 7 is average, because a 6 or a 7 is not average. If I'm being entirely honest with you, an average is 4.5 to 5, because it's bell curve, right? Like you have the highest concentration of girls between the 4.5 and the 5.5 range. And then the further up and down the scale you go, the more that drops off. It's not a linear graph at all. So if you're saying to yourself, I want a 6 or a 7, you're saying, I want above average to exceptionally pretty girls to like me. What do you bring to the table? It's a serious question. Now, of course, that age bit makes a big difference here, because a 7 who's 18 is very, very high in demand, right? A 7 who's 21, whoo, everybody wants that. But a 7 who's like 33, and you can still see the remnants of 7. She's still a pretty girl, just, she's got the wrinkles coming in, and like you can see the droops and the bags under her eyes, and you can see the 1,000-cock stare that she's got from all the nights out on the town. Okay, now if that's the kind of 7 you mean, you have a much higher chance than with the 21-year-old 7. So figure out these calculations, figure out what your current standards are, and then how you stack up against them. But that's not it. We're not done. In fact, we're so far from done, because if let's say I put in all of my information and I come out with a score of 54 out of 100. And wow, what a coincidence, because my standards for girls are also 50 to 60 out of 100. Oh, fantastic. Excellent. Now everything's all set, right? I can just go up to girls and say, what's your score? She says 53, and I say, oh, wow, well, then we're a perfect match. No, that's not how this works at all. That's not at all how this works. Instead, what you have to figure out is, what does your ideal type want? Because the fact is that what we just said in the standards bit doesn't make any difference at all if you aren't factoring in the types. So the 31-year-old 7 who's an alcoholic wants a very different thing from you than a 31-year-old 7 who's a husband hunter, who wants a very different thing from you than a 31-year-old 7 who's a shy girl or a 31-year-old 7 who's an attention whore. They all want something different. They're looking for different traits in you, different qualities in you. That is where you really get to play the game from part 1. That's where you really get to play the game here, because you can bring different things to the table. And if you are going after the right types who you can attract with your system, your qualities, what it is you bring to the table, then you have a much better shot with these girls than if you're just saying, right, fucking anyone, I guess, like, just whatever. I don't know. What do I bring to the table? I just honestly, I just want someone to touch my dick. Okay, cool. That's not going to work for anyone, is it? So you got to figure out what your ideal type wants. What types of traits are you looking for in a girl? What kinds of characteristics or qualities are you looking for in a girl? Cool. Now that you have an idea in your head of who you want to meet, who you want to date, who you want to hook up with, flip that around. Get into her head, in this imaginary ideal version of her, right? Get into her head. What is she looking for? This type of girl. What is she looking for? There are types that are very interested in money, muscles, fast cars, height, hair, things like that. Yeah, all of those, absolutely. There are certain types that look for those things. Is your type looking for those things? Maybe not. Is your type looking for the ability to speak multiple languages? If you're into shy girls, maybe, yeah, that would actually be a really good advantage to have with them. Is your type looking for someone who can drink all night and party all day? Well, then, that's the alcoholic. So, do you bring that to the table? Is that something you can do? That's something I bring to the table, but for me, that was actually a detriment with Lady North. She wants nothing to do with that. She looked at that as a negative. So this is what I'm telling you, is that different characteristics and different qualities that you have will attract certain types of girls and will repel others. Keep that in mind. You need to know where you stand and what you bring to the table, so that when you're meeting these girls, you know which parts of yourself to show them. Next. Before we go on to the next bit, here's part 2 of the reveal. Part 2. Lady North's rarity number. I plugged her into the female delusion, and she destroyed me by a factor of 10. She came in at like 0.6% or something like that. Like, oh yeah, she's much more desirable than me. Like I said, by a factor of 10, according to the app. Now, whether or not she is, I suppose that's up to you, gentle viewer. But next thing we need to know, should you lower or raise your standards? Well, this is the crux of the question. And the reality is, I can't answer this for you, because it depends on your answers to those first 3 things. So, if I, for example, if I answered those questions, first answer, I mean, you guys know me and my personality by this point. You know what I do bring to the table and what I definitely don't. But then the second one, if I set my standards and my ideal type to be like, I would like to meet a 5 who's an alcoholic who likes to have a good time with bad people. Okay, I can raise my standards at that point, right? Because for those types of girls, I can be much more... Bento, go with mommy, go. I can be much more attractive to them because what I do and what I am is what they're looking for. That's great. I can raise my standards in that situation. Now, what if I say, right, so here's the thing, is that I know I'm old, fat, bald, and not particularly wealthy or famous, but I'd really like to be dating a 22-year-old Instagram model with at least 1.3 million followers. Like, that's out of touch with reality. Like, yeah, you got to lower your standards, man. You have to be realistic. You have to understand where you are in the dating market, in your own personal life. And you might think to yourself, oh, but I'm such a catch because I'm such a nice guy and she doesn't know how good I would treat her. Who gives a shit, dude? Right? Like, girls are not attracted to nice. They're three things in the world that girls actually care the least about. Whenever they were surveyed, whenever there was a survey done where they took 200 women and then they had a group of 50 guys choose the most attractive women in that group. So those most attractive 50 girls chosen by a group of guys, they had them rank a bunch of different qualities. So this is the most beautiful women as chosen by men. They had them rank a bunch of different qualities as from like must not have, or I literally do not care, to they must have this quality, because all the qualities were positive things. And the three that ranked the lowest were kindness, intelligence, and loyalty. So, bro, if your sales pitch is, but I'm kind and I'm smart and I'm loyal, guess what? You bring nothing to the table. She doesn't give a shit. Now, that's not true. You do bring something to the table. I don't know what it is because I'm talking to the plural you here, but you know yourself and you have to know what it is that you bring to the table. It can't be kindness, intelligence, or loyalty. Or you can have those, that's fine, but you have to bring more to it than that. So figure out where you stand, where the girls that you're looking for stand, what it is that they're looking for, how you rank up against other similar guys, how they'll view you in the dating market, right? This is the most important bit, is how they perceive you, not what you actually are, not who you are on the inside, like a drab little crab once or some bullshit like that. No, you need to know, yeah, they're good qualities, but those three qualities specifically were marked as like, well, it's nice to have, but also it doesn't matter, right? Like that. That's one of those things that's just it's not gonna pop up at all. It's basically how most men feel about a girl's income level, right? Like if a girl is making $20,000 a year, or if she's making $90,000 a year, and you're like, okay, I mean, it's nice to have the extra money, I guess, but it's really not what I'm looking for here. Same thing. Those qualities basically don't matter. What you got? Bring up your other qualities. Well, that's where we're getting next. You beat me to the point there. And that is actually exactly what I was about to say, which is, should you raise or lower your standards, or should you raise yourself up? Should you, if you're not meeting what you want in the dating market, you can either lower your standards to match where you are now, or you can bring yourself up and improve yourself to get to the point where you're actually getting the types of girls that you want to be dating. This is the magic of self-improvement. This is the magic of actually figuring out what you want to change about yourself and then doing the thing to change it. And if you're perfectly happy with where you are now, then your standards need to match that. But if you'd rather have the high standards, you got to bring yourself up to similarly high standards. That's okay. Either one of those is okay, by the way. It's entirely your choice about what you want to do. Like, you can be a busted dude who dates busted chicks. There's nothing wrong with that. Ugly chicks need love too. I'm not out here to judge, but what you need to think about for yourself is our last point, which is what matters the most to you. This is going to significantly affect how this whole equation works out for you. Because if what you're looking for most in a partner, in a woman, is I just care that she's young and hot. Nothing else matters. I do not care. No personality whatsoever. Can't carry a conversation. Doesn't understand jokes. Doesn't even understand my fucking language. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Only thing that matters to me is that she's young and beautiful. Okay, cool. So you need to focus your efforts on doing the things that's going to attract that girl. If what you're looking for is you say, look, I don't care what she looks like. I just want a girl who's calm and is going to be drama free, is cool to be around, isn't going to hassle me. Like we just kind of go along to get along all the time. No big ups, no big downs. That's fine too. Then you sacrifice other things for those traits and qualities. If what you're looking for is you say, look, I don't even give a shit if she's old, she's ugly, she got saggy titties, as long as she's rich and she's going to buy me stuff and take me places, okay, that's fine. That's fine. But you need to figure out for you what matters most. And then redo this entire calculus and figure out where you fall in for that type of girl with those traits that specifically has the thing that matters most to you. How do you stack up against your competition for that type of girl? Now, if you're looking for that old divorcee with the saggy titties, but she's loaded, ooh, you're going to have smooth sailing. It's going to be fun too. Might be hard to keep her around, actually, but that's a whole different set of worms. But if you're looking for the young, hot, beautiful girls, then you've got to change your game. And if you give me some basic bitch, boring ass answer, like, I don't know, like I just want a girl who's like nice and like treats me well. You're not aiming to anyone. You're not talking to anyone. You're not going to get anything from that. We've got some angry ass ajushi out here banging on a window down the hallway. I don't know if you guys can hear that on the microphone. Is that coming through? Yeah. Welcome to Korea. The only place in the world where a fucking $500,000 home has angry drunk neighbors and we're considered poor. Like, I love this country. Anyway, let's drink. Here's to the ajoshi. Cheers, boys. All right. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move it into the live Q&A section with the player panel. So let's bring them in. Coming in with the kid and Julius and Paul. How are you boys doing?
Good. Just still laughing at the ajushi banging on the window. I can't hear it from here, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, it's I love it. I love Korea. Have I told you guys how much I love Korea?
Yeah. Obviously.
Like you can see the cognitive dissonance on my face. Those Lotte Castle apartments look like they belong in the.
They look like they belong in the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Well, you've been to my place. They're not quite Soviet era homes, but pretty fucking close. Actually, they technically are. I think our building was built in like 1986. It's the same age as me. Hey.
Yeah. No, that's the thing though. Like they developed Korea so quickly that they just built all these shitty ass apartments everywhere as quickly as they could and as boringly as they could.
Yeah.
Just like these eyesores everywhere.
There is some. It leaves something to be desired for sure.
Yes.
Anyhow, let's move into the Q&A. Good morning, the kid.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Good.
What is it? Afternoon, Paul? Oh, we can't hear you.
Yeah, for Paul, it's like 3 p.m. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's 3:30.
Yeah. You forgot about proper drinking water and building isolation. I have no idea what that means, but yeah. So the kid, what you got for us, big guy?
Okay. Yeah. So the first question is kind of going off the last point, right? Like, self improvement and kind of improving yourself is the best way. Like, if you're, maybe average, to kind of be able to raise your standards without like fighting a very uphill battle that you probably would lose. So, let's say all you guys, since you're all kind of like mid 30s or so, right? Like, let's say you started back when you're like, 20, 21, 19 again, right? Just, average or as you were. Looking back on what you've learned, what's that first thing you'd like start working on if you're that age to like be able to raise your standards?
For me, it would absolutely be my conversation and humor, because I still sometimes slip back into this, especially whenever I'm doing like the longer solo lessons and stuff. I start getting really fucking pedantic and boring, and that does not work at all at parties. And when I was like 21 or something, sometimes I'd go up to girls at like parties and in bars and stuff, and I'd be like, "Hey, what do you think about the most recent presidential debate?" And like you could hear her dry up.
Oh yeah,
Like
everyone dries up in the entire building. I'm like, oh my god, here goes Jack.
Yeah, no. It 21-year-old Jack didn't know how to have conversations. He didn't know how to lead a conversation, how to keep things interesting and light and fun. Like it was brutal. And the worst part was that like I could hear how bad I was, but I didn't know how to fix it because I didn't have any examples or anybody who was good at it to teach me. So that was tough when I was young. That honestly that would be the first thing, because for me, like my selling point has never been my devilish looks or anything, right? It's always just been personality and fun and excitement. And I didn't even know that at the time, because again, nobody had told me like, well, what do you bring to the table other than nice, right? Because that's nothing. And so yeah, I would have figured out how to capitalize on that sooner, for sure. What about you, Julius?
For me, it's confidence for sure. I had cripplingly low confidence, and I could carry a conversation. I was very social. I was very normal in the sense that I could just carry a conversation with anyone and all that. But just I had no confidence in myself, in my appearance and anything. And at the time, I was exercising every day. I was swimming 4 or 5 times a week. I had an excellent physique. I was very lean and all that, but I still thought I wasn't good enough for anybody. And for that reason, women would always tell me that you're like hot, but you don't know it, kind of thing, just because my confidence is so low. And that turns women off too. They don't want a guy who just isn't sure of himself. A guy who just that drives up women just as much as talking about the latest presidential debate does. So no question about that, and knowing my value.
Yeah.
And probably using that to the fullest extent, which I never did in my early 20s.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much the same thing as you, Julius. Like for me, the two things, if I could go only 10 years back, because I'm not mid-30s, it definitely two things, and that would be working out consistently throughout the last 10 years, as well as fixing my style. Like getting my fashion sense. If I had gotten that 10 years ago, it would have made a huge difference from what it actually did.
What was it like?
It was very like just knowing that, okay, you look good, you know what to wear, you know kind of how to dress yourself up and kind of use the right items to make you look better. Like, first of all, I am skinny as fuck.
Mm.
So I like now you guys mostly see me at home, so I usually wear black. But if I go out, I will usually wear white or white with black pants because it makes me look bigger than I am, and it covers what I still till this day consider one of my biggest flaws, which is being super skinny.
Interesting.
So
I dress like a fucking beach ball. But okay. So actually, you do make a good point there, and this is something that most guys feel is an important part that's maybe missing for a lot of them, which is like start working out and get into better shape and lose some weight and things like that. Yes, those things are very big, especially when you're just getting started, because those things can help give you confidence.
Yeah, exercise especially, I think, is a huge confidence booster because just by seeing the number of weights that you could push, go up or pull, it makes you feel like you're a lot stronger and better than you were.
yeah,
before
for
those
sure.
weights. Even if you don't see the change in your body, you'll feel better just because you're getting stronger. That's cool.
Yeah. Another thing, like I think the same worked kind of similar on me when it came to fashion as well.
Mhm.
So the way that worked is, so in the start you don't notice it, but once you start feeling comfortable in your new clothes and in your new style, you will notice more and more people look at you, especially if, like, for me, like Julius knows, like I prefer smart casual and little stretching the word casual, like casual formal
Mhm.
to an extent. And then it becomes very fast that okay, I feel good. I notice that people turns and looks at me, right? And then that snowballs into that confidence that you need to get those first conversation, that you need to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
For me, the one thing that I always knew is that I am generally pretty smart, which means I can talk about anything with a general knowledge at least.
Yeah.
Which means okay, I need to be comfortable having that conversation and feeling good about myself so that I can actually have it. And then in that sense, it made sense to start with the physical things rather than the conversation part, because that to me that came quite naturally afterwards. As I started to be more confident about myself, it became more easy to get into that practicing the conversation part anyway.
Sure. Yeah, I think a big part of fashion too is being extremely confident in what you're wearing, right? So I know Jack, he wears tie-dye and he wears hot chili pepper shorts and a fish hat before he lost it. And that's something that you wear because you're very confident, right?
And comfortable in it. Like, honestly, this is what I feel
Completely
most
comfortable
wearing.
And you can wear anything. There are people who would wear the same thing and would be like, oh my God, people are looking at me. What are they looking at?
Yeah.
And they will see you right away and be like, that guy is not comfortable in his own skin. Who knows what it is, but I'm not putting up with that. Just be very comfortable in what you're wearing. And if you get your new clothes, like Paul said, and you look and you feel like you look good in them, great. Okay. I think that's probably the most important thing, other than trying to figure out what looks good on you and what doesn't, is just being comfortable in what you wear.
Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah. Confidence. And the confidence. So because confidence is such an all-encompassing word that doesn't really nail down anything. The way that I describe this, honestly, and we keep coming back to this every single week, is congruence. It's all congruence. That's the reason that I can wear the most ridiculous fucking clothes in the world, and I can rock into a bar looking and feeling like $1 million, despite the fact that my outfit costs $7.
Look at the back parts. I want to let you borrow it. So
what the fuck happened? Was this
like that's part of the design? It looks like you got it tagged.
Oh, I thought maybe like you just had some girl who was like, yeah.
No. It's part of the design. It's just a thing. It got
okay.
So if you wear it,
I'll absolutely rock that bad boy.
Awesome. Yeah, it should fit you, or you can just wear it open, whatever.
You
But
just wear it open.
yeah, it'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and wear red so it looks like you actually got hurt. But like, yeah, it's a thing too. Like, see, he's got the confidence already. He'll wear it, he'll rock it, people will love it, right? But I put on some other dweeb, and he'll be like, "They're looking at me. They're gonna call me an Ajima." No, see, then that's not.
Yeah,
Be
that's the same.
very-
Like,
Yeah. Don't be
they
afraid of what the new things of what people think. They may think of what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do, then that is how your lack of confidence will show, and the way you walk, and the way you carry yourself, and how you're just kind of hiding yourself like that. That's no good, and that's when you're lacking confidence. Work on those things if you feel like that in new clothes you bought. It doesn't matter if it's from Express, H&M, Uniqlo, wherever. Doesn't matter. If you're just not confident, you need to work on how you feel about that. I've seen people wearing Louis Vuitton sunglasses and whatever, and they look like complete shit in it, but they're so confident in what they have on them that it doesn't even matter what I think, right? I go, oh, cool, I like his glasses. They look like Sherman, but I like his glasses.
Yeah, that's the same. Like, I could never wear anything like what Jack wears, or I'm trying to imagining myself like wearing some anime stuff or something. It wouldn't work at all because it's not who I am. It would just look weird.
I don't own any waifu shirts yet, but
I actually bought a waifu shirt the other day. And I bought it just because I like the vintage look, not because I love anime that much. It has nothing to do with that. And then Paul told me I look like a nerd. I was like, oh, God damn it. I'm still going to wear it, but still.
Yeah, but that's the same. Like, I'm going to bring my Timon t-shirt to Korea because he looks like me, tall and skinny.
There you go. We should all wear our most daring clothes next time we all meet up. I'll wear this. Or I'll let you wear it, Jack. I don't know. I don't care.
I don't even know what my most daring outfit would be.
Nicolas Cage?
The Nicolas Cage tracksuit. No.
I probably would only wear that at home.
That's even for me, that's a bit too much.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that was funny.
I'll tell you what, for you guys watching the stream, we'll find a special occasion for me to wear the Nick Cage tracksuit for at least for one of the live streams. But oh Jesus, it's rough.
Oh my God.
Anyway, the kid, what's up next, buddy?
Yeah, for sure. So another question is like, as you guys were talking a lot about like kind of the types, right, and like figuring out what's important for you, because that's going to determine a lot like what things you should be focusing on, how you should be improving, right? So my question would be, as you guys have like gotten older, right, and like more mature, have your priorities like evolved, right? Has it always just been, getting the highest beauty score, or as you guys have gotten older, have other traits become more and more important over time?
I would say for sure. The older I get, and the more sure I am that I want to settle down, the priorities in what I'm looking for changes a lot.
Yeah.
I would say when I was in my early 20s, beauty was 95% of what mattered, and the second was willingness to sleep with me.
It's a big one.
Today, it would be, I think, beauty actually comes second to loyalty. So basically what I'm looking for in a relationship is peace. I want a person that I can be with that gives me peace. And not peace in the sense of like, oh, she doesn't interact. No, it's just when I'm with this person, I am just completely comfortable and everything just makes sense. And if you asked me 10 years ago, I wouldn't even know how to begin to describe what that person looks like.
Yeah. I've felt similar things, but yeah, definitely when I was young, willingness tops the list, which is not a trait, right? Like that's why it's
fulfilling a need.
Yeah, right. So that's the thing, is that idea comes from a place of neediness, which was one of the reasons that I wasn't very good when I first got started, because I was just like, anyone who will touch my dick, right? And like, but that's by the way, that's why I'm so hard on guys like that, because that was me, right? And it was advice that I needed to hear when I was younger, of like, that's not a thing. Nope. Being a nice guy is not a thing. That's not something you bring to the table. That's not important. Willingness is not a character trait. That's not what you're looking for, because you can't build a system around that. And so, why does my monitor keep shutting off? Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, definitely as I've gotten older and I've gotten a better idea of the different types of girls, of what types of girls are fun to date and right to date for different types of relationships, being a little bit more honest with myself about what I was looking for at a particular point in time, and taking that to heart and actually applying that stuff in reality. Figuring out what things, like Paul says, and Paul's thing, right? The loyalty thing. Yeah, that's important. And that's usually something that you take for granted until you get burned, right? Like that needing that as a requirement in women is the sign that, like, right, I have now learned from firsthand experience that this is not to be taken for granted. And like, that's important. And for me, priorities like being calm, right? Like not slow to anger, right? Being patient, not getting worked up about stupid shit all the time. And that's probably my top trait that I look for, well, that I was looking for. And Julius knows exactly why, because of that last girl who was just like always angry all the time about fucking everything and nothing and anything all put together. It didn't matter. The peanut butter and jelly sandwich had the wrong consistency of peanut butter to jelly. How can you make such a stupid mistake? Like, oh, for fuck's sake, right? And so,
Yeah,
basically, your views on what traits you're looking for will change based on bad experiences that you have with women.
oh yeah.
And I wish that I could give you like a magic answer right now to be like, no. Here's all the things that you need to focus on, and then you'll never have a bad experience in your life. That would be a fucking lie. Like the truth is that some of this you're going to figure out for yourself, and based on whatever experiences you have, what you look for will change as a result of those experiences, both good experiences and bad experiences. You'll learn more of what you like and what you don't like, what you want and what you don't want. What about you, Julius?
I haven't had such a horrible negative experiences in the past. Like that girl, who shall not be named, but in my case,
Fucking
I think.
Voldemort?
Yeah, we could call her Voldemort. Why not? That's fitting. Just in my case, I think what I really prioritized though was someone who was willing to do something long term. Someone I could establish a future with, settle down with. Just the usual important stuff of just getting ready to settle down and have my life with, right? Back then it was more just about fun. However, whenever I got with the girl who was like really pretty and hot and great in bed and whatever, and it just ended abruptly like that, that shit sucks. It sucked at the time, right? And so you're kind of like, well, that really sucks. I felt used. I felt like this wasn't any good. That's not what I want. So you begin to realize you don't want short-term things that just end abruptly. That always sucks. And so I try to stay away from those as much as possible. I mean, we are men. So when the opportunity presents itself, you're not going to be like, well, no, you don't look like a long-termer. But you got to definitely prepare yourself for that. Unlike before where you just kind of hope and then you crash and burn. You just kind of figure out how to avoid those.
Yeah. Definitely those things change, and you know, I think more important than these particular traits, actually understanding the types, having that in your mind helps to clarify a lot more, because the different types will embody different traits, right? Like, without even having to list a single adjective, you know what to expect from the slut, the attention whore, the alcoholic, the prude, the gold digger, right? Like, you have a mental image in your head of who this girl is, of how she acts, of what she's going to do, of what she's going to expect, of what you should expect from her, right? And so the traits help you to solidify down, like, these are the things that are most important to me. So I'm creating kind of a priority list of this, like, number 1 and 2 are like, she must have these. 3, 4, and 5 are like, it's nice, but you know, if she has 1 or 2 of these, that's good too. And you can kind of, you're just directing yourself and your energy, rather than saying, like, it's not a checklist, right? You don't meet a girl and say, right, so how do you rank as funny? Are you funny? No? Oh yeah, that's right, women can't be funny. Ha 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 ha. Okay. uh, Speaking of funny, though, I just saw that picture you sent me, Julius, and I was trying not to laugh while you were in the middle of talking.
That's why I was like, whoops. So what did I say that was funny?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. The kid, what you got next for us, buddy?
Yeah, I would say the next question would be like how would one go about, let's say, balancing like your ego, right? Because one of the things you guys kind of mentioned was like as you gotten older, other things became more important, and maybe you were like, maybe the nines and tens aren't what I really want. But how would you balance that voice in your head that's like, but I want them, or like I want to be seen with them? How do you balance that ego versus what you actually need, maybe?
Here's the thing. That voice in your head comes from one of 2 places. One is, I want a beautiful woman to love me so that I can love myself. That is an extraordinarily unhealthy place to be, right? You need to get okay with yourself first. Because without that, none of this other stuff matters. If you don't love yourself, then you can have that, you can be in the best shape of your life, you can have the millions, you can have, you know, the best fashion, you can have whatever, it doesn't matter. If you don't like yourself, none of it matters. And there will literally never be an end to this. Because if you need a beautiful woman to love you so that you can love yourself, what's going to happen is you're going to, let's say that you get with that 9. Okay, great. And then even if she's just desperately in love with you, she's all about you, you're her whole world, and she wants to stay with you forever, she wants to give you everything, she gives you blowjobs along with the dinner that she cooks for you every single night, whatever, doesn't matter, you're still going to be looking around saying, right, but there's a hotter girl that can prove this even better. This has to be fixed first. This is absolutely critical. So if you want to date beautiful women so that you have permission to love yourself, stop. I'm giving you permission to love yourself. Honestly, like, truly take some time, figure yourself out, get that thing sorted. The second reason that guys want to date beautiful women for ego reasons is because they want to show off to their dudes. Now, let me tell you something very important right now. If any of your sex life is based on your friends, that's pretty fucking gay. So just stop that.
Yeah, that's a weird flex.
But it is like, but I understand that thought, that feeling, that, because like everybody has that kind of like pang of jealousy whenever they see their buddy walk in with a smoking hot girl on his arm, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Like, what is this thing? How does that happen? Right? And you feel that, but that actually comes back to number 1, which is, it comes back to like, but why can't I have that thing? And none of that comes from a healthy place. You don't want to replace your own self-love and confidence with a girl's, because like what happens?
It's a hole you'll
the
never
second-
be able to fill.
Yeah, and what happens the second she leaves you, right? Then like now you're whole
completely alone.
even deeper. It's even worse. And you shouldn't be trying to make your guy friends jealous and you're not trying to flex to them either, right? Now,
Yeah,
I will
like
admit-
never date anyone to try to impress your friends. It's definitely a very like if you're doing that, then you've got some issues you need to sort out first with yourself before you start bringing women and other people into it. Like having a mental competition, it's really unhealthy.
Yeah.
Most certainly, don't have the mentality of trying to always find something better out there, because you have this wonderful woman and you're just gonna fuck it up because you're just I want more beautiful. No,
Yeah.
don't do that. Yeah, because you'll just end up hurting a lot of other people and you're gonna end up alone, completely alone.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't. So if that's a feeling that you're having, and I mean this sincerely, like take some time and figure out why, and work on resolving those issues. Because if the thoughts that you're having are like, right, I can't love myself until a beautiful girl proves to me that I'm worth loving, then you need to figure out what the root cause of that thought is, and you need to address it. And I actually really do mean it, because that's going to wreck any confidence that you could possibly build through other means. You've got to deal with that one first. Now, there is, of course, the ego of like, well, but I just want a pretty girl. Like, pretty girls are nice to have, nice to look at, nice to stick your willy in. Yeah, that's true. But don't worry about that. Like that comes with time, with experience, with just, I mean, honestly, you can't walk onto a basketball court on day one and do a slam dunk, right? Like, you're not gonna play like Mike on day one. You get there, or you give up part way and say like, "Well, fuck that! I'm not gonna do that," right? Like, or whatever, right? Like, don't worry about that. You can still have like ideas for, you know what would be kind of cool is one day if I did this. That's fine. I've had like not exactly bucket lists, but like checklists of like, well, that's one that I've never done before, or something like that. As long as you're doing it as like, this is a fun thing I'm doing on the side, like Julius and I used to compare like, oh, did you ever get this flag? Did you ever get this flag? And it's like, okay, we didn't bang the girls for that reason, but afterwards it's just kind of a fun conversation piece. But it doesn't mean anything. It's not like, oh, well, I have 10 flags and he has 12, so he's better than me. Like, that none of that fucking matters. Right?
And none of it was ever like, oh, well, I'm gonna look for this and do it right away. No, it's more like, oh, it just kind of happened, and wow, cool, hilarious. Tell me how did you meet someone from that place?
Yeah.
Not,
exactly.
not it wasn't a competition, and don't make it a competition. It's just unhealthy.
Yeah, definitely don't do the like, don't be the my cookie is bigger guy. Like there's always some guy in a group of people who, whenever someone tells a story, then this guy always has to chime in and be like, oh yeah, I had an even bigger cookie than that. Like, okay, man.
Yeah, it's like, all right, cool, man. I've met people like that here in Korea, and they're just the goddamn worst. I met this 5-foot Canadian guy he had such a chip on his shoulder. He was such a short man syndrome guy. He was like Mr. Short Man Syndrome. And I remember I was telling people, I was like, oh yeah, I come from Houston where it's extremely hot, like 39, 40 Celsius, 100 whatever in Fahrenheit, and super humid all the time. And he's like, oh, well, my town in Canada. I was like, no one's talking about Canada. And he's like, my town in Canada is even hotter. And he literally said just 1 degree higher, because he had to outdo me. He couldn't give me the fact that Houston is one of the hottest places in North America. He just could not let that one go.
His cookie had to be a little
Yeah,
bit
I was like,
bigger.
all right, dude, I get it. You're 5 feet tall. I understand. I'll let you have your hot city. You
Yeah.
win.
Okay, cool, man. You're the winner.
It's
Wow.
like, cool, you win. You win. I got
Quick,
bigger dick.
somebody
I'm
bring this
6
fucker
feet
his
tall.
trophy.
I have a girlfriend. You don't. Awesome. You're 40. Great. You're single. Amazing. Cool story, bro. Tell me
Yeah.
more about Canada and its hot city that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah. Sid says the subject of value, settling, and loving the girls you're currently with and ego is so complex. It absolutely is.
It's cute.
What? There's a town in Canada that's hotter than Texas? No, probably not. This dude was just
Yeah, no,
full of shit.
he's just
He
5
was
feet
just,
tall.
he was just an asshat.
Yeah, he was just being a cocksucker. That was all. And no offense to my 5 foot kings out there. Just saying this guy was a cocksucker.
Kings.
So I'm gonna use his height against him. I know that's how I get to him.
Oh man.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? I mean,
There is at least one more in the Discord.
Yeah, and I have one more that was submitted to me directly as well.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Paul, reread the one from the Discord if you can.
Yeah. From the Discord comes, how do you know if you're not sure about what you want? Like you feel you missed the time and the chance to get the hot young girls, and you are now a little older, it becomes harder. Should you just go with time, or should you try to recover?
Bullshit. Absolutely not. I'm so sorry. Look, I'm gonna call this one out, right? Like, you guys have been out with me, and I pushing 40, bald, fat, broke, looking ugly and ragged and drunk as fuck, and I can still pull over 23, 24-year-old hot girls that come like no, I'm sorry. If you're a little bit older, okay, cool. If you can bring to the table what those girls are looking for, then you can still get them. Now, if you aren't bringing to the table what they're looking for, you didn't miss your chance. You just never brought what they were looking for. You need to figure out who it is that you want to be meeting, who it is you want to be dating, what are they looking for, how can you start bringing that. That's it. That's the whole equation. That's it.
Oh yeah.
I would say there's a big difference between not having a chance and not giving yourself a chance.
Yeah.
There's a very big difference.
Yeah, I think if you just go with that mentality, it'll just end up as a self-fulfilling prophecy where, like, oh, I can't do it, therefore I won't do it because I can't do it, right? We're men, and age and numbers, they don't affect us the same way socially as like it does for women. You're like, oh, that's a 35, 36-year-old woman. In my case, I'm a 36-year-old man, so it's like, oh, cool, whatever. He's just a 36-year-old guy. And it's never been a problem for me at all when women ask your age. If you just say, oh yeah, I'm like this anyway, let's do this. If you let it be a thing, it will be a thing, basically.
Look, a couple of weeks ago, I was out drinking. So to exactly this point, I was out drinking with this girl, and she's maybe 26, 25, something like that. Like, she's young, she's very pretty. She has like, a good job. She's got like her status, her Korean thing going on all over the place, right? And I was out drinking with her, and we're just talking. We're talking about dating and about, about her dating life and men and things like that. And I was like, now let me ask you a question. I want you to be 100% honest with me. If I were single, okay? So forget about this for just a minute. What would you give me? 1 to 10. And she's like, honestly, here's the thing. You lose a couple of points because you're pretty fat and you're bald and you're old. But actually, you're just so fun to be around that I instantly forget all of those things the second we start talking, because all I'm doing is smiling and having a great time, and I feel like I have to spend more time with you, and there's nothing that can pull me away from this moment. I give you a 7 or an 8, really. And I'm like,
Nice.
I mean, I wouldn't. But thank you. I appreciate that. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But this
But
is
that's
my
the
point. Is
point.
that women view your stuff differently than you view your stuff. You need to figure out what she's looking for, and if you can deliver on that, then this thing, like fucking Sloth from the Goonies, turns into an 8 in their minds.
That's
Yeah,
just how women
remember-
function. You just have to figure out what makes them tick, and once you do that, you'll be fine. And usually, that's just knowing how to talk to them.
There is a statistic that says where they asked married women, why did you marry your husband? And in 1 out of 3, the only reason was because he's fun. So you can get away with a lot of things as long as you bring energy and entertainment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I notice when I go out, I still got it when I talk to women because I just know how to make them laugh and say stupid shit. That only magically comes out when I drink a few beers. It's kind of weird, but I gotta, yeah.
Simba
It's
say
fun.
hi. Hey, boys. Yeah. Yeah, this is correct, too. Figure out what makes you tick, too. Yeah, so, Coot, actually, this is a good point, and this goes back to something that the kid was asking about earlier, which is, like, how have things that you wanted changed over time? When I was younger, I wanted someone who would drink with me and, like, could keep up with me. I'm super fucking turned off by that at this point. Like, if I see a girl who even suggests shots, I'm like, you're over. You're over. Oh, Simba, Uncle Coot says hi. But yeah, like figuring out what you want and what you then look for those things. Sorry, Paul, go on. Do your thing.
No, I was pretty much done at that point. But yes, I would say like when you get older, it's not about whether or not you can date those young girls anymore. It's just about whether or not you see yourself in the way where you bring the things that they need or want or seek.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of superficial women out there that only want to date the 3 6s, right? You know, but if they don't rely on social media and apps to find these men and they meet them in person, that stupid rule and a lot of their ridiculously high standards just kind of crumble before them because they go, oh hey, I'm talking to a guy and I find that to be far more interesting than 6 pictures on Tinder.
I think that most girls who say something like that they're, I'll only date a guy who's got the 3 6s or something. I think that they use that as a defense mechanism because they know that no guy actually wants to meet them, and so they just use that as a reason for, because I don't date anyone, but it's just because like my standards are so high, and so I'm just waiting for the right guy. And I've seen guys do this too. I've seen guys go out to the bar and be like, they look around a bar full of women and they're like, oh, there's no one here to approach, man. Like there's not even any hotties here. So like, I guess I just won't be doing any approaching. I guess tonight it's just bro drinking. And it's like, oh, you're cute, aren't you? You're just too shy to approach the 6s. You're not going to approach the 9s. That's not a thing.
Mm-mm. You'd be surprised. It's a lot of fun to talk to just anyone. Just try not to be so caught up in like your numbers and your standards. Just walk up to people, and that's what I kept doing.
Yeah.
So,
well, and like,
I need you, Paul. I gotta make you. You gotta complete me.
You complete me. Okay,
Well, you better take the entire week off in 2 weeks.
Oh my God, Paul! You're wearing your Duncan Solaire T-shirt.
I do.
Yes, yes.
You have to explain what that is.
He is a cross-dressing wrestler in Itaewon.
It's
All right, that is
it's
okay.
one of the
I
wrestlers.
was not expecting that.
One of
I
the
thought it was
wrestlers.
like
He is really fun.
like an EDM band or something. All right.
I've got my oh come on then. I've got my Duncan Solaire sticker as well.
Duncan.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm surprised and pleased to see that. Let me quickly give you the question that was submitted to me by one of our members as well. He asks, and he originally asked me to pass this on to Rich, but you're going to understand why I'm not passing it on to Rich as soon as I ask it. I want to know what your meal plan is for putting on size and muscle. There's too much complicated or bad advice on Google. And as soon as he asked me that, and he's like, could you please pass this to Rich? And I was like, no, ask Julius. Like, Rich is in good shape, but Julius knows how to put on muscle. This is the dude. So if you've got a young skinny dude, I think he's like 22, 23, and he's looking to put on muscle. What? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
No, I got to give it to Rich. He did. He knows how to trim,
Yes.
diet,
Yeah.
and consistent exercise and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
And
He-
that's
he's
the answer.
good, but when it comes to muscle, that's
Right.
Yeah,
not as
but
strong.
you literally just gave the answer. It's consistency.
It absolutely is.
Take it from me.
for the
I
meal
am the
plan bit.
super skinny guy. Yeah, but the meal plan is not that important.
Okay.
So in the beginning, you have to work out like crazy.
Mm.
Because the more you work out, what will happen is that you will actually build an appetite. So at the start, your energy level goes from here, and then it goes right down here when you begin. And that is because you are not eating enough.
Mm.
But what happens then is because your body is realizing I need more, you will generally start to feel a lot more hungry and eat a lot more. Like, remember when I came to Korea 2 years ago? Then that was probably when I was at my biggest. I've managed to maintain the weight, not necessarily the width across my shoulders. However, what happened is that I would go out for lunch for meals 3 times a day, and I would have to eat like half a kilo or more of samgyeopsal just to feel okay.
Mm.
Because at that point, I was working out 6 days a week, and you needed that much energy.
Sure.
And that is the way for particularly skinny guys that are struggling with gaining weight. There is only one thing to do. It's work out a lot and work out primarily the big muscle groups and then eat a lot.
Mm. I like that. Coot says, start cooking, eat a lot of meat, take creatine. Creatine is great. I feel 10 years younger.
But so I will both agree and disagree with the creatine. So the creatine, yes, it does make you look bigger, but what it actually is, it's just your muscles are more filled with water.
Yeah.
Because that is the primary thing creatine does for building
It's
size.
a lot of water weight. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you will notice that, like, when I was in quarantine, I probably lost 3 or 4 kilos just in water weight.
Mm.
So
yeah, I think if you want to put on muscle, the best thing I would do is you got to hit your big muscle groups extremely hard. One thing I would do a lot, and I'm still doing these days, and it's working wonderfully for me, is doing a lot of legs. You do your legs and you squat and deadlift. Today I squatted and deadlifted. And you just do as much weight as you can. You do it to where you make sure you work out all the different parts of your muscles. So don't just do quads and calves. Make sure you also do the hamstrings, make sure you incorporate different lifts and try not to repeat them in the same way that you did it the last time. So because that way your muscles will not get used to the workouts you're doing and therefore stop growing. You want them to keep growing. Try to mix it up and push yourself as hard as you can. One thing I like to do though is I like to eat before I go to the gym, like right before I go to the gym. So today I ate some chicken breasts and some bread to give myself the carbs I need to give me the energy my muscles require to exercise. And I was pushing crazy weight. And I actually, it's funny. A bunch of foreigners came in and they were doing nothing. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to work out extra hard to show them how fucking stupid they are. And that's why I did deadlifts and squats. So, yeah, make sure you do the muscles. Don't ignore your legs. Don't ignore any body part. For the longest, when I was younger, in like my early 20s, I avoided legs because I thought running was like a leg workout. And then I started doing legs. And my strength just exploded. My hormones exploded. My testosterone was through the roof. And my bench press went from 100, barely doing 100 kilograms to about 130 in probably like 2 months. So that's 275, kid. So like it just got really high, got really strong. My muscles just developed and everything. You also want to do abs. Now, abs are a little tricky. Or just your core in general, because most people just think sit-ups are abs, but there's so many different ab workouts you can do that don't require you to kind of potentially strain your lower back as you're doing abs. You can use the ball to sit on and do sit-ups, which is way easier and gives you a bigger range of motion. You could do leg races, you could do bicycle kicks, you could do X-Men, you could do planks, you could do oblique sit-ups. There are so many different things, but the most important thing here is to do what you are comfortable with. Hit the gym consistently or on the same time every day. Vary your workouts. Have realistic expectations. Don't think that you're going to explode and go from 100 pounds in the bench press to 300 a month. That does not happen unless you juice up on steroids and HGH, and that's ridiculous. But another key thing is to also diet. A lot of people just like to eat everything and just dirty. We call that dirty bulking when you just eat as much as you want and bro, but you're also kind of getting fat. Don't do that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Go Mad memes from years ago.
I didn't know that there was a word for what I do. Hey, thanks. I'm dirty bulking.
Yeah, there's a back then there was this movement called Go Mad where you would drink a gallon of milk a day. So that's about 3.3 liters, Paul. And they would drink a thing of milk, whole milk, no less. And then, of course, their strength would explode. So their deadlifts were like 500, 600 pounds, 300 kilos. They were squatting a ton. They were doing all this stuff, except they were just a bunch of fat guys with big, thick, fat legs and
that's the
wide,
thing,
big
right?
waists. Remember,
Okay, so if you take a look at all the heavy lifters in the world,
Yeah.
their bellies are bigger than Jack's.
Yeah.
Like they are generally
by a lot.
They
Yeah.
are fat because they
Yes.
need to be.
yes.
Well,
Like,
if you're an offensive lineman, then fine, right? But
Yeah, guys. I mean, but there's a purpose for that. Like Eddie Hall, for instance, at his prime, he was eating 10 to 12,000 calories a day, and of course he's got a gigantic belly. But of course he's lifting 500 kilograms, 1,000 something pounds, right?
right.
But he's the strongest man in the world, guys. Just temper your expectations.
Right.
Don't eat like that. Just follow a steady plan of. Depends on what you're trying to do, but if you're trying to lose weight, have a calorie deficit to where you're burning more calories than you're taking in. If you want to gain weight, taking more calories than you're burning. Make sure
but that's also a thing. Like when you start working out, it's not gonna be only about the calories.
Yeah.
Because the calories is not necessarily what makes you grow bigger.
Yeah.
Especially for super skinny guys. The two most important things are gonna be carbs and protein.
It also depends on how your body works. So like when I try to lose weight, I count my calories like a sissy because because like for me, if I count my calories, it means that I could lose weight pretty quickly. If I don't, then it's kind of hard for me to keep track of what I'm doing. Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And you could also measure what you eat, but figure out what you want to do and then we could help you figure out how to get there. When I was a swimmer, like Paul said, your body is gonna need all the food it can get. So I remember coming home from swimming, and I would just gorge on all this food. I would out eat everyone. I was a little stiff, and I couldn't bench press more than 65 pounds when I first started doing that. But I was eating like crazy, right? So it's just your body telling you need this stuff, so that the next day you could do it again.
Yeah, when I was a swimmer, when I played water polo, I know you're like, none of you are gonna believe this now, right? But like when I played water polo and I was about 60 kilograms, but also I would eat like 8 Wendy's burgers a day and just conk, right? Just shovel it all in because you
get so hungry. It is insane, and I've never really got that hunger back.
We'll do that, Sid.
We need to do that, and one for good locations for like dates and going out and such. I think
that we can do as well. And sumo wrestlers,
but there's a reason they need that size, like an offensive lineman in an NFL or something.
So I would say, like, from being a skinny guy that tried to put on weight late, I can tell the things that my personal trainer back then, who is a European champion in weightlifting, his 2 things, or basically 2 things, and then he said, okay, these are the things you're gonna eat to make it, was you should put your thresholds that every single day, if you take your weight and then multiply it by 2. So if you're 75 kilos, you should eat 150 grams of protein every day. And in addition to that, you should take your weight by 3. So for 75 kilos, that's 225 grams of carbs. And it should be good carbs. Like sugar is not a...
No, don't eat sugar. Brown rice, brown bread.
Yeah. Look, beer is very good, and it has carbs. Oh, no. Therefore,
so
it's a superfood.
Yeah, it's a pseudo-food. So what was recommended then? There were specifically 4 things. That is rice, whole grain pasta, chicken, and salmon. If you can eat those 4 things, it's the best thing you can get if you're working out consistently.
I remember chicken breast, salmon. I know cod is very good too.
Yeah, and then the other thing was, okay, so I struggle with eating a lot. Like when you're a skinny guy, normally that means your stomach is also quite small. So yes, people think you eat a lot, but you might do that 2 or 3 times a day. The second thing is divide your day into either 6 or 8 meals. And that is a freaking nightmare. But I remember back then it was 100 grams of rice, 100 grams of chicken, 6 times a day.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, but you will definitely notice it.
Yeah. So but it is a great way to put on weight for sure, and such for hard gainers.
I took a completely different approach. Again, I know, right? Like I know now, right? But Julius knew me whenever I did the players experiment on the blog years ago, where I cut out drinking for a month. And I figured, well, if I'm already going to hate my life anyway, then I may as well lose a shit ton of weight at the time. And so what I did is I went no alcohol, and I went on a pretty strict diet, but not a calorie deficit diet. And I hit the gym 6 days a week. I went on the steak and eggs diet, where steak is a little bit tough to get, especially where I was out in Incheon, at least for an affordable price. And so it was either steak, if possible, or chicken breast, or mostly chicken breast, actually, because even the filleted fish out here is usually, it's got the bones in it and shit, and I don't want to mess with it. So a lot of chicken breast, a lot of just beef, just raw beef, and cook that, a lot of eggs, and then just vegetables, like green vegetables, asparagus, something like that. And you like throw on the side with it. And I went not quite keto because I didn't cut out all carbs, but it was pretty close. It was like probably under 20 grams of carbs a day. And in 30 days, I dropped about 15 kilos, at least of look. But my weight didn't change that much because it was just like, right, the belly's going away, the muscle's coming in. And the weight kind of like, it went down, but for every kilogram it went down, it went back up by 750, right? So it was like it was going down, but it was just muscle gain, fat loss in 30 days, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a huge transformation. It was
Yeah.
it was quick.
Yeah. It honestly, like, if you're not doing something now, then making a change, even if it's not as drastic as that, right? Because that was a drastic change, especially given my general lifestyle, right? But if you're making a change at all, you're going to see outsized benefits at the beginning. So if you're looking to bulk up, make a big change for the first 30 days and then see if you like where you are, where you're going, and adjust from there.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle change for sure. It's definitely something you end up doing as part of your day. To where if you don't do it, it's really weird. And I remember that
Yes,
was a
as
big
you can
lifestyle
tell,
change
very
for you.
weird.
Yeah, I was like, what? No
Yeah.
drinking? And he actually did it. It was fucking insane.
Yeah.
So no drinking and a lot of exercise was.
and no
key.
carbs. Yeah, I was hitting the gym like 6 days a week,
Mhm.
right?
I remember, yeah, you lost weight quick.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that, like, honestly, whenever guys talk about this stuff, right? And so here's Coot. Coot says, eating more meat and getting proteins gave me muscle without working out back when I was really skinny. Yeah,
Nice.
and and he says I bulked up on keto and low carbs, right? Yeah. Look, if right now, if you're just basically not doing anything, if you're doing, like minimal exercise or even no exercise, and you're like one of those people who says like, well, I try to eat clean when I can, that means you're not on any sort of diet, right? And so if you just actually plan something out and make a small change, you're going to see massive differences. And it isn't that difficult. It's
No.
just, it's a change, and it's a change that you either turn into a habit or you do what I did and you say, right, okay, cool. So I've proved that I can do it. Now, can I go back to drinking beer now? Okay, good. Thank you. Because I went there and I decided for myself, I was like, right, I would rather drink beer than do this and look this good. And that was a conscious decision. Might not be a good decision. You might not agree with it. Doesn't matter. That was my decision. So yeah, like, you figure your thing out. So towards like the meal plan, protein, lots of protein. Carbs, that's up to you. Depends on if you want to lose fat or if you want to bulk. But yeah, like the guys were saying, good carbs, if you're going to have those, vegetables, and then probably have something that you're allowed to have for snacks. You could go like Paul did, which was like I'm going to measure everything out and I'm going to set these exactly this way. That didn't work. That doesn't work for me at all. And so for me, if I'm going no carbs, then I have something that I can snack on, which is just whole dill pickles. I love these motherfuckers. And also, there's 0 calories, 0 carbs, because it's just a cucumber soaked in vinegar, basically. And so you have things that you can snack on if you get hungry, if you're doing like a diet, or if you're doing eat till you're full and then shove more down. However it works for you.
Yeah,
I will have to say one thing, that just to clarify, the 8 meals a day, that was not me, but that is my little brother, who used to be as skinny as me. He's a little lower, shorter than us, but after doing that, he basically became like Caesar.
Oh,
He's
nice.
like just a, yeah.
Yeah, nice. A good thing I like to do to control appetites or to snack on, like Jack was saying. I was about to call you Zach. I drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of water. So I just drink. Oh, have an appetite. I want Whataburger or Burger King. I'll drink a lot of water. So I'll be like, oh, I have Uber Eats or whatever. I want it. Nope, I'm gonna drink water. So just make that a habit. If you have a problem just eating too much and compulsive whatever, uninstall those apps. Try not to go to the convenience stores or anything like that to eat things you shouldn't be eating. So just keep it consistent. The first few days are always the hardest, but then it becomes a week, then 2, then a month. And another cool thing, take photos. Take when you start, then take one a month later and compare. You'll see a huge difference, even if you don't think you are seeing a difference in yourself in the mirror. If you compare the 2 photos, and I could share it in the chat and show you guys how I used to look before I met you, Paul, and then when I started dieting, I was a fat sausage. I looked like I sold tacos here in Nito on. But when I started slimming, I looked like I was the salsa dancer. So it was nice.
I think
I
think
did.
the
I looked like a
last
fat sausage.
I think the last absolute worst to consider tip is if you can afford it, that is, find a personal trainer that actually motivates you.
Yeah.
Because having someone that can be in the gym with you and push you to the extreme every single time you go. Actually, it doesn't have to be every time either. The way I did it when I started was I went with the personal trainer 2 times a week, and then he made me the program I was going to do the 2 other days. And then you just go.
Yeah.
Because once it's a little bit like once you pay for it, you commit to it.
Yeah.
But that it doesn't work the same way with the subscription at the gym. But
Right.
getting those coaching or personal training lessons and buying them as a package rather than like you buy them whenever you go, that flips the switch in your mind as, okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you don't necessarily need a personal trainer. Like, let's say you can't afford it. One thing I tend to do to keep consistency is I'll just have a friend I'm working out with the gym, and it's like we're gym partners. It's like 5 days a week we're going together. So even if I finish work, he's texting me at 5 p.m. like, "Hey, when are we gymming?" And now I have someone holding me accountable, where I have to go.
Yeah, having a gym buddy. Even I remember when Jack and I, when Jack lost all that weight and everything, going to the gym, we were like virtual gym buddies. So we would keep each other motivated and going all the time, and it worked for about a month or so. I think you went to the gym about 2 months in a row.
Yeah. I kept going for a little bit after that, but I honestly, as soon as the month was over and I went back onto beer. By the way, you guys should know how awful this stuff is for your body and your physique. If you're trying to look good, fucking stay off the beer, right? Like gin and tonic or vodka soda, you're fine, right? Those are, I think, 20 calories for a drink, whereas these are 300 or something stupid,
something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
you're drinking a tall can, ugh.
Yeah.
There's people who mix it with soju, which is like a zillion calories on its own.
Oh, soju is so much sugar.
It's so bad.
Yeah. Be aware of what you're putting into your body. And I know that I realize that as it comes from me, that might sound hypocritical, but it's not, because I'm very well aware of what I'm doing. It's a conscious decision. I know what I'm doing. I just like beer more than I like being skinny. Like this, you don't have to make the good choice. You just need to make an informed choice.
But I remember one thing that got me really impressed was it start of last year when you went on your keto diet and just switched. I guess the biggest thing you switched out was beer for whiskey.
Yeah.
So you traded beer for whiskey, and it went like a flash of an eye, and you looked completely different.
Yeah, I lost 10 kilograms in a month and a half just by drinking whiskey instead of beer. So and I didn't do anything else. I didn't like.
So
get
conclusion:
out
if you're a skinny guy, drink beer.
there. Well, that's back to the dirty bulking, right? Like just follow the Jack diet plan, and you'll be looking like a beach ball too in no time flat. That obviously I don't recommend that for anybody, but if you know what you're doing and you're aware of it, you're a fucking grown up. You make your own decisions. I feel the same way about beer as I feel about like credit cards, where like if you don't know what you're doing, you're in for a very bad time. But if you do know what you're doing and you're able to make your own decisions, then make your own decisions, right? So yeah, that's well, that was like a 30-minute discussion about that. And that is also a good indicator that, like Sid said, we should create a health. I might put together like health and fashion, so that because I don't think there's not going to be enough demand for a fashion channel by itself, but there will be questions about it. So since those are two of the things that we hit today pretty hard, let's throw those into a channel so that the guys can ask about those. Yeah, so
think
many
it'd be a good idea.
soju now, but Coot, like, I
What are we, pussies? No.
honestly, man, like zero soju, I trust that about as much as I trust the zero sodas. Where like, I'm sure technically speaking, they're probably 0 calorie and 0 carbohydrate. Like I believe that, but that means that they're using something else instead. That like it's still not going to be great for you. You're probably better off just accepting the 20 fucking calories of a gin or a vodka, because those are so
I didn't know
low.
they had zero soju, but I know that there's
Yeah, they
hard
made
seltzers out now, which are like super low calorie beer drinks that are popular with millennials these days.
Here in
Absolutely.
Norway, they call them light, as in not light like in no alcohol,
Mm.
but light like in lower weight, which basically is beer with like a third of the calories. No, carbs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not the
Well,
calories, but the carbs.
That was always the point of the light beers in America, because that's the same way. Like Michelob Light and Miller Light and Bud Light, those were all meant to be like the girl version of the drink, so that you can cut down on the carbs. Again, yeah, not the calories, but yeah, they're making like zero calories, 0 carbs soju's. They're basically just following the soda formula.
Mm.
If you are drinking enough soju that it's affecting your diet, then you are a braver person than I am, right? Because like I can drink
Soju's so nasty.
a couple of liters of beer in a sitting, and again, like I know what I'm doing. This is very well practiced, you may believe, very well practiced. But the idea of drinking 2 liters of soju in a single day, like how would you like? Do
Yeah,
you hate
no,
yourself
I
that much?
just thinking about it is making me want to throw up.
Boycott Bud Light. There you go. Based Sosa. And yeah, tonic water has some carbs. That's why I just take gin. Okay, but here's the thing, Coot, is you're a fucking madman. You're literally the only person in my nearly 40 years alive who I've ever met who's like, yes, I believe I will just drink straight gin. It's like you and Winston Churchill, and that's fucking it, okay? Don't...
Yeah,
that is
oof.
objectively terrible advice. I would literally rather not drink than drink straight gin as my drink of
Yeah,
choice.
gin is something else.
No. Now, straight whiskey, however, now we're talking.
Yeah, I was doing straight rum and straight whiskey for a bit when I was dieting hardcore.
Yeah.
It's just, and it hits you hard, and you don't spend as much, and the carbs and calories aren't really there. So, I mean, if you're fully committed, that's the way.
it makes you a cheap date, that's for sure. Whiskey is a trash drink.
It's not my
Hot
go-to.
Okay.
It's not a hot take. It's a good take. I think whiskey's kind of overrated. Actually, it is overrated.
I think we
bourbon,
need new
whiskey,
friends,
bourbon.
Jack.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
everyone's whiskey. I
clearly,
was drinking it because I don't want to drink just tequila, right? I was like, "Ugh."
I didn't realize that I was dating a 21-year-old sorority girl who's like, oh, I know, vodka shots. Oh, whiskey. No, that's too rough.
Vodka Jello shots.
There you go, Sosa. Look, I want you to clip that and make that your ringtone. That. Oh man,
That's funny.
Anyway, I believe that's honestly where we have to cut it, guys. It's almost midnight here, and the kid, I believe you have work soon. I know we're gonna have bedtime soon. Don't tempt me, but Sid, that's all that I do. I'm a very tempting man. Speaking of which, are you back in the country yet, buddy? If only more places had cognac, I'd not drink gin. What the fuck? Cognac. Why?
Cognac?
Why? Who has ever looked at cognac and been like, oh, I know what a good idea is. Let's have some of that in my system. Nothing bad has ever happened as a result of drinking fucking 5 cognacs.
Yeah, no,
That's awesome, Sid. Are you going to be there next week when I arrive?
Yeah, I think he was just out on vacation for a little bit. It's as I understand, and Sid, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to be here for a while now because Paul's arriving on Thursday. Please join me. Where are you going to be on Friday? No, you're going to be gone by Thursday? Okay. Sid, I am unfortunately I'm all booked up this weekend on both Saturday and Sunday. I may be able to do some Friday night depending on where you're gonna be. We have the end of season pool banquet on Friday night in Itaewon, and that'll finish at about 11:30 or 12. So if you want to have some drinks in Itaewon and maybe shoot some pool, I'm down for that. Going to Vietnam on Sunday. Listen to this motherfucker. Fine, whatever. Look, I'll figure it out. I'll see you Friday. But for the rest of you fuckers, I'll see you all next week on Thursday when we have a very special episode because Paul is flying in on Thursday and I'm going to meet him and we are going to do a special live stream together that Paul and I have already planned out. It's going to be totally different. We're not going to be doing a lesson. Instead, we're going to be doing a, what do they call this in university courses? We're going to be doing a practical, where we're going to be teaching you something actually out on the field that directly relates to improving your dating life. So make sure that you join in for that. Unfortunately, Paul, do you have a computer?
I can probably bring mine.
I mean,
think that
well,
should be fine.
if you weren't going to bring one, then there's no reason to bring one just for this. We'll use the phone for it, which means that we won't be able to see or hear you guys. Kind of like a couple months ago, whenever I filmed from Corner Pub, right? Like we won't be able to hear the guests, and we won't really be able to read the questions.
But maybe we could do the stream a little earlier.
What we might do is we might do the stream from, okay, here's the plan. We'll do the stream from one phone and we'll do the other parts from Discord on the other phone. So we can take the text and the questions from Discord on there, and we can have the voice chat open on there as well so that we can bring other people in for that. I think that might kind of let these two worlds merge a little bit. But Julius, are you going to be joining us?
You and Paul?
Yeah. on Thursday next week.
I could try to make an appearance. I won't drink though or anything like that.
Yeah, today's a 2-hour stream. Yeah, that's exactly right. But look, it is what it is. Just shit happens. So anyway, all that to say, next week is going to be an excellent stream. I hope you are there to join and have fun. And until then, Papa Jack